Alright, I am going to show you how to do the folded brim and do up the hem. As you can see here, I worked my cast on with what would be the main color. Then I worked some rows in pattern, the knit 4, purl 2, in a different color, and then I worked one row in pattern of that main color again. So now, my 2 ends from my cast on, get the contrasting color out of the way, 2 ends from the cast on, I'm just going to tie them together. Not real tight, just good enough that they're not going to come out. Okay, and then my 2 ends of color on the inside, make sure it's on the inside, I'm going to tie them together. Again, not snug because you'll mess up your rows. And you can do this with both colors if you worked a 2-color brim. Just tie them together. And I'm not going to weave in any of these ends, to tell you the truth. I didn't do that on my first hat. They're just stuck inside. Alright. So now we got the ends taken care of. Alright, so it's folded, hence the name. And I'm sorry, I am a left-handed knitter, so this is going to look very backwards, but hopefully you can get the idea. You want to tuck your ends inside on the wrong side, and you want it to go wrong sides together. See, I brought up the cast on edge to the where I'm working, or I just worked that new row. You don't have to get it all folded up all the way around, you can just go a little at a time. So what you're going to do, and this is going to be loose because it's your end, you're going to go into it, remember it's your end, so hang on to it. And then you want to find where your very first stitch is. All my ends are kind of in the way of the cast on. You want to pick up the loop, this loop here, or honestly this loop here. It doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. And you're going to put it on the needle with your first stitch here, and you're going to knit those 2 together. And then you're going to find the next loop. And it's easier with a longer brim, I promise. Don't skip anybody. And get this guy here. Now pretty much on your cast on, it should match 1 for 1. So if you get to the end of your 4 knit stitches, and you're working in pattern for this, if you get to the end of your 4 knit stitches and you find that you're actually at the beginning of 4 knit stitches on the bottom part, you need to go back and fix it, because otherwise it's going to come out looking weird. Alright, this is my last knit. Said as long as you're consistent, that's what matters the most. I have an end in the way. I split the yarn. Okay, so I'm at the end of my knits. How are we looking over here? See, that's all messed up. You see how that's messed up? I'm going to be honest, I did not do that on purpose to show you a mess up. So I'm going to have to take out, because I thought I was in my first stitch over here, but see, here's my tail. I should have gone in this stitch right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and fix that, and then I will come back and show you what it's supposed to look like when it's done correctly. Since I have to rip, I may as well show you how to do that in case you have to rip as well. You don't have to worry about rescuing both of these stitches. You only need to worry about rescuing your orange row here, not the cast on, because you don't want to go back into that. You can pick that up later. Alright, it's correct now. So find your tail of your cast on so that you know where stitch number 1 is. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. Your working edge, the end of your yarn that you're currently working with, that one you don't want to tuck in because it's not tied to anybody and it will come undone. You will need to weave that in later. Okay, so I have done my 4 knit stitches and I'm ready for purls, and I turn it over on the back and I have done 4 knit stitches and I'm ready for purls. So you're just going to continue to do the same thing. You're going to bring the yarn to the front though, pick up the next loop, and this time we're purling them together. And we're going to go back to knits. And I don't check, like I won't check after the ends of my 2 purls, but I will definitely check either at the end of my 4 or at the end of 6. I won't go more than the 6 before I check because I don't want to have to rip out a whole bunch. So be sure and check to make sure your stitches are ending up where they need to be. Now if it feels like you're off just a little, like 1 or 2 loops because something was just a little hinky or something, you can fudge it a little bit. But you saw how far off I was the first time, and that definitely was not going to work. It wasn't going to look nice. It was going to twist my hat. So just be sure and check once in a while, make sure you're on the right track, things are going all right. And if not, just go ahead and rip back until you get back on the right track or somewhere that you feel you can fudge it and make it look all right. I'm going to go finish this and then I will show you what it looks like all done. So while it doesn't technically matter which loop you pick up when you're from your cast on row, if you're going for fully reversible look, it's going to matter for that. I'm sorry I forgot that little detail. So here's the beginning ones, and you can see these loops here on the front. They look like purl bumps. And here's the ones that I just did. These 2 here. Just this one, sorry. And I started this one. So these 2 side by side, you can see the difference here. It's not a huge difference, so if you don't want to be fussy about it, don't be, because this way over here, it is a little bit easier to get into those loops than it is in this one, and I'll show you the difference. So remember the first way, I was just picking up these guys. Makes it really easy. But the second way, you actually turn it over a little bit farther and you pick up this guy here. So he's kind of tight. And knit him together. Come and find the next one. And doing it this way makes it look just that little bit nicer. It is a little bit harder, but it's also harder to mess up your location and get your hat out of order. But as you can see, it's kind of a difficult thing to get into. Now, if you've worked a different cast on, it may be easier. I honestly don't know. This is the backward loop cast on. That's what I work, probably 95% of the time, unless I have a very specific reason not to. I know a lot of people don't like it, but because I work it so much, there's not much that I can't do with it. And for me, it's very stretchy and does exactly what I need it to do. So let me know if different cast-ons give you different results, are easier, harder. I would love to hear back about that. Now on the purl section, get this guy in there. In the purl section, it doesn't matter because it's a purl section. So I just stick with the easy ones on the purl section and pick up the next loop. Purl it together with the next stitch. Pick up the next loop. Purl it together with the next stitch. Yarn back to the back because it's time to knit again. And we're back to picking things off the front. So it is totally your choice how fussy you want to be about it. I mean, it's barely visible, but I did want you to know that you could do it and it'd be just a little bit different. I mean, even in these very contrasting colors, this orange and green, it's, yeah, if you were submitting it for fair or to be judged somewhere, I think they would, and they saw it like 2 pieces side by side, they would be able to see the difference. I don't think you would be marked down for it. But this side looks a lot more like this side than the other side doesn't look like this side. So this second way here comes a lot closer to fully reversible than the first way. All preference. No right or wrong here. Your choice. Alright. I have now gone all the way around. It'll focus. It's not focusing. I have gone all the way around. You see it's all folded up. All nice and neat. My ends are all tucked in except for this one that I told you. You don't want to tuck it in. If you want to weave it in later. But now the brim can be folded either way. It looks pretty much the same on both sides. So that's the folded brim. If you have any questions, please let me know.